All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. I got another watch list for you, but we got to start with the craziness of what happened today. There was a crypto black swan, and what developed throughout the day, it had a late impact and hit the market, but surprisingly, it brought down a lot of the bullishness that we had. So this is where we were at yesterday. That was where we closed at. Again, we had the watch list and all of that. I was in those shorts, the ES and the NQ. I got a little nervous there. By the time I was going to bed, I was like smiling, and then we opened up. Market went down a little bit, and then we continued to really rally and get back to the levels of Jerome Powell over here, but all of a sudden, it slipped when it shouldn't have. All of the calmness got destroyed, and it was because of crypto. So I'll explain the situation to you, but you probably heard me saying something today. We even brought it up on the watch list yesterday, but we were saying how the market is calm, and well, actually, that's what this is showing you. The white is the realized volatility on the S&P 500, and the blue line is the implied volatility. And what we are noticing happen, especially as of late, is that implied volatility is lower than actually how the market is moving. The other times that has occurred, it was the middle of June when you had the CPI, and then eventually the volatility and everything caught up. And then again, that also happened there leading into April, which was another CPI. But what people are even saying, not only are the midterms kind of having a weird effect right now, but the CPI right now, even though we're all on edge, it's actually pricing in the lowest amount of volatility than even the average CPIs we've dealt with. Pretty much it's a 1.7% pricing in now, and on average this year, CPI has been moving us 1.9%. So absolutely wild, and that's why I'm saying the crypto stuff today, because for real, we were doing good, and there was a lot of bullishness. Even if I had the short, it was working against me, but it was looking strong, and then all of a sudden, this drop out of nowhere, this does not happen. So we got a lot to talk about. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, all of that good stuff. If you don't know we're live at this point, hey, it's free. I don't want you to miss it if it's free, okay? But let's talk about this whole thing going on with the FTX token. Again, Sam Bankman-Fried. I call him Sam Bankman-Fried. I'm bad at reading, but you've probably heard the name. He's like one of the youngest billionaires. He's a pretty cool dude. A lot of altruistic things. Honestly, most people haven't had anything. It depends how you look at him. I know a lot of chat. Everybody like to attack everybody, but point is, dude's billionaire. He created FTX. It's the fourth largest crypto brokerage, and they have their own token. They have the FTX token. You've probably heard of a company called Binance. They also have a BNB token. It is the token of the brokerage, right? This is how they funded the company, all of that. And I'll even tell you right now, you could go get this information a lot of better places. I want to give you guys the quick rundown, and this is why I'm going to dive deep into it a little bit here to start. One, it's fascinating. Two, it caused a gigantic reaction on the market. But then three, if you actually see how everybody's been talking about the deal, all the news you got today was FTX is getting bought out by Binance. That occurred today in the midst of it, but if you were watching live, there was a lot more to that story. So it started from last night. There was actually beef on Twitter between the two CEOs, Sam Bankman and the CEO CZ of Binance, like they call him CZ, but there was a little bit of beef. They've been going back and forth. It gets really deep if you think about it, but all of a sudden, there's Alameda Capital. This is like the hedge fund owned by Sam Bankman. Again, y'all can verify this. Some stuff I am gonna miss and all of that. It's a giant rabbit hole. But this is the CEO right here, and she was making a comment to CZ. She said, "Hey, we'll buy all of your token sales at $22." Even yesterday morning, we announced after all the Twitter drama, Binance CEO yesterday was like, "All right, I'm selling the remaining FTT token that I have. That's the one that I just showed you right here." He said, "I'm selling out of it." They were like, "We'll buy it at 22." And then there was another tweet. There was a balance sheet that was circulating, and the CEO addressed it, and she said that specific balance sheet is a subset, and there's like 10 billion that's not reflected. But again, a lot of the wealth on that balance sheet was all in FTT token. Again, you'll probably see another headline today how his wealth dropped so tremendously. It was because of this, but pretty much there was all of this drama throughout the day. Let's go back to the coin and why this is so important, because this matches up. Again, we were bullish. The market was doing great. It should not have gone down. But after this little fiasco, and as his wealth started declining and FTX's coin started dumping, all of crypto dropped. It led to Bitcoin hitting the new low of the year. So it's breaking. I think it was just under it. Again, there was a wick a couple weeks ago that was like 17,000, but it overall wasn't good. And this is why, because it broke 22 from last night. Things weren't looking good. And then all of a sudden, Sam Bankman, he tweeted, he was like, hey, we've been working with CZ, is good. And then he was saying all this stuff, how things aren't getting restricted and how everything's going great. And then right after, CZ tweeted that they are buying FTX, which again, all of this was big, but it jumped the coin up. And then a couple hours later, just they announced that they're halting the FTX like withdrawals or something. And again, you need to go check up on that. I don't have any money with them or figure it out. Again, there's just all this drama, but then it started declining. And then again, Bankman had about like $8 billion all tied up throughout here just on this token alone. But this is where it started to freak out. And I'm saying, this was the timing. It started dropping before we dropped, and we were looking very good again. You'll see when we get to the keys, everything was calm. People were liking the midterms, the seasonality, for real. There was no reason to go down, but all of a sudden that changed, and now this is pretty much going to be a black swan we got to think about, because if crypto goes bad, it could be good for the Fed, but then we'll see how it affects everything else. But this was huge. This occurred. You could go watch the recap on the live stream, but now, sorry for delaying so much. It's been crazy. Let's get to the keys, baby. Like I said, today, no news was good news, and that was until we got that big crypto news hit. Hopefully you understand the situation by now, but what I've said all day, we were even talking about it when the market was hitting 3,800 or just around there. The market definitely has the ability to brush this off. Even as it was occurring, we were talking about this being an overreaction, and the reason is you had a lot of bullishness. There's not that much news. The dollar dropped a ton today. It provided a giant slingshot. Like, things were going good. The bond yields even got to rally. Again, people were cooling down after, again, we're just bouncing off of these lows as of recently. There wasn't really a reason to go down. You had the midterms and seasonality. So that's why we were saying the market has the ability to brush it off. There's been a lot of support at 3,800, but when it's all said and done, I think we're going to have to keep watching this. And it was like, what happened today? It was definitely an event. If you remember what we said on the watch list yesterday, we were saying nothing should really affect us. It should be calm. The volatility's been lower. Like, literally, you could see it on the implied volatility. And we weren't expecting much unless there was a big macro move. And the dollar had a very positive macro move in the morning, but it all got erased with this. And now this was a pretty big piece of news. So that is your first key. Keep that in mind. But now moving forward for the rest of the week, we talked about this morning, and we even said yesterday with things being delayed, in a way, the midterms are almost becoming a non-event. Pretty much like healthcare, the weed stocks, and any of the industries, I think they will still get their moves as we get to hear from specific states, or if there is specific action, right? So it's like if the good weed states get approved, no matter what, even if that's not delayed, that can have an effect. If a certain governor wins and then tries to do certain laws, or they back something really aggressive or favorable for an industry, that could cause moves. But like the overall broad effect, why are the midterms being bullish? One, the event is going out of the way, and now two, as all of this is occurring, there's just not a lot of news, and it's like no news is good news. So I mean, with imagine if you didn't hear one bad thing globally, not one crazy currency, do you think the market could sit there for 2 days without buying? So that's kind of the positive, and that's even what we saw here a little bit today. But with all that being said, now watch out for the midterms. We're going to keep an eye on it. Obviously, it's a big deal, and we're going to be following along. But now the real money this week, it's going to be the CPI and whether or not this crypto situation develops anymore from here. But overall, just don't forget, CPI is going to be key. And now, hopefully, we could keep this simple. Again, like I was saying, and today was a very good characterization of it. It's like we were moving a lot to pretty much go nowhere. I still kind of feel that, but to give you the final key, I'm just going to keep it simple with everything. If we move too much ahead of the CPI, I think that's going to kill the move. So if we move down, even way down too much, and people start grabbing puts and getting in position, I think that's going to make CPI kind of more confusing or done, and then vice versa. If we rally too hard leading into it, I think it'll be even harder on any direction, even if it is a good CPI. Again, CPI is expected to come in at 7.9%. That is lower. A lot of people ask me on my opinion. I think there's going to be more bullish impulses than not. Gas and oil hasn't changed too much since last month. Used cars have dropped a lot. Rent is obviously going to be sticky and not too good. But for the most part, I'm thinking it'll be a little bit more positive than not. And anything that we've seen collapse after running up a lot, it's been a big collapse. I mean, so when the inflation falls, it will fall hard, but we will see. But even with that being said, learning from what we've got with the jobs report and all that, just be on the lookout, even if it's a good move, even if it's really bad. But if the market is too positioned ahead of it or kind of swings a little too aggressive leading into it, it might kind of price all of that in or get the meat of the bone right before the event. And then after that, the event will kind of be a weird pivot point, kind of how Powell's been treating us over the last couple days, the Powell point from just last week. But hopefully that helps. It is going to be a crazy week. There is so much, but thankfully we're already moving, baby. It's almost going to be the middle. So I hope you're ready, but let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, I got 3 different plays to go over, but we'll start with what I did today. It was actually a very, very crazy morning. So, I started with Pfizer. I brought this one up on the watch list. This is something I kept bringing up. I ended up day trading it. I made like $100. I grabbed 200 shares at 46.83. They were down a little bit, but kind of holding that range that I brought up yesterday. And I was like, all right, let's go for it. I need some more upside. And then, if you remember what I was holding yesterday, I had a lot of those downside plays, the NQ and ES, and I was down a lot in the morning. At one point throughout the day, I was down about $8,000 between both of them. But with all that going on, it was leading me to, I was like, I'm just going to buy stock. But if you were there on stream, you noticed a lot of the stock I bought was lagging, and it was not hitting the same, and it was behind. So I was like, all right, let me buy some more stuff. That's why I grabbed the Pfizer. We ended up flipping later in the day. And then I did 50 shares of Amazon about 9 minutes in at 89.86. I'm still holding that, again, because I still have one of my futures held short. Then we flipped Bitcoin. I got like $20 here. This is when it was all started to happen in the beginning. And again, we were even talking about this stuff yesterday on stream. It's just very wild how all of it ended up playing out. But there was that play. I ended up making like $70 or $100 on Bitcoin plays. And again, MBT is a very small future. I caught like a $250 move on Bitcoin. It was less than like $100 profit. It was like $75 or something. So keep that in mind. I did not like it. Then I sold out of that. I sold my Twilio again. I was up on it. It went negative at one point, but it's like my upside was not hitting, and I had bigger plays that could do work. So pretty much I said, I'm going to keep the big ones, sell out some of these smaller ones kind of in the middle. So I took $100 profit on Pfizer. I got 160 or 180 on Twilio, and then like another 100 and change on Apple. But those were upside plays. Took those out as it was running, still was holding the shorts. And then when all of this was going down, that NQ, the greedy one from last night that I took, and again, I was down at one point, I was down $4,000, but then like what, 1121 right here. Like right into that candle. This is on the ES, so it's even different, but I closed out and I actually got about just under $400 profit on that NQ. So still holding the ES. I'm still down on that, but now a lot of the other plays, we even took a little profit. It wasn't too bad. It was just crazy how all of that played out, but as a result now, pretty much took profits on Apple, closed out of the Twilio. I already flipped Pfizer, may want to get back into it, and then just left over adding 50 Amazon to the pile that we got here. So those were those plays, but now let's get to the 3 plays, baby. I got some good ones that you should be looking at, but the first one, man, Tesla, I am still in this one, and I just think it's going to be a good trading opportunity near this low. I still think it could flush below this level. I think it could go down as much to like even 180, but what I'm hoping for is that it's going to like hit these lows and then a day or two later bounce $10 or $20 and then kind of give these trading opportunities. So I've been holding some shares from yesterday. I'm actually still down on them, but if you heard me on stream today, this was one thing I was saying. I was like, man, with how a lot of the plays that I bought to the upside were lagging, I mean, Amazon was down today, or Tesla was, but I was like, I might just throw it all in Tesla and just get some of that upside, especially. So if he could start leading, especially with how it's been moving, I might just want to even focus on it, especially if it starts making or continues to make a lot of these outsized moves. But definitely watch Tesla, a lot going on. And even then, though, the downside of this will be maybe this crypto situation ends up affecting them. So we will see. But that is play number one. Then play number two. Yeah, we're going back to the crypto situation, baby. MSTR. If this situation keeps developing negatively, they still got a lot of meat on the bone. Even today, I mean, it's kind of wild how it played out. If you actually see the chart, when the news was good and like FTX was getting bought out and the first pop, again, it correlates with the FTT token, but it went from what, 229 to 260 and then sold off $60. So what I'm trying to show you with this one, man, if this situation develops in a weird way, it still has a lot of meat on the bone. Even though it was much, much higher, it was still, up from a lot from the bottom. But this thing can move big, and this might be better volatility. Again, we tried to trade some of those Bitcoin futures. It just didn't really hit the same, so we will see. But watch out for that. And then finally, man, play number three, Netflix. They were dropping in response to Disney earnings initially. They lagged a little bit today, and they started to kick into gear. I'm still up on those shares now. I'm holding them. Remember, that was one of those upside outperformers, but I'm thinking they might eat Disney's lunch after Disney had user growth but not profit. Netflix did very good on every end. So I think that's kind of good, but just watch depending on the follow-up move from Disney. And I actually ended up holding those shares and got clapped. But watch how that plays out. I think Netflix should have an opposite effect. Otherwise, if I'm wrong on that, then Netflix is just going to dump alongside Disney, and then it'll be a double whammy. But we will see what happens. But those are the main plays. As far as everything else, I actually got to pull up the other holdings for you. Here they are. But as far as what I'm holding, there's the ES. Again, I'm down on the options. And then there's that 2600. That's the one from yesterday. Again, I was down a lot more on it. I went down to down 600 when I closed the NASDAQ. I could have closed it out, but I was like, let me hold one to ride just in case. And really, up until CPI, I'm most likely going to ride that. And even after today, I think I'm going to be chill just riding it out. Again, I've already fluctuated a lot. I've got to see the devil already with that one. That one was crazy. But there's that NASDAQ. Dow Jones keeps going up, but still the original play from last time. This is one of the ones that I ended up holding. Remember, I closed out the McDonald's and all that, but still fighting out against it. I don't even think this one's too crazy just yet, or waiting until it comes down. Otherwise, if CPI, and remember with any of these plays, if CPI ends up being good, the market doesn't move a lot to the point where it gives it a big rally, then, so long, we're going to have to book these, but then we're going to go to the upside. But there's that $7 on the Amazon. Disney held for earnings, down $600. I'm going to ride that one coming into tomorrow. The Meta, we're up on that, remember, even after the average down. And this is one of those bigger plays, but like I was saying, it was kind of still lagging in the morning and didn't help position. But after the pop and lock, though, now these are kind of holding up. Then the wheat stocks down $63. They were up a little bit, but again, waiting here for the midterm results and anything of that nature. Netflix, that one's up, another big one with 100 shares, but holding barely. We'll see how it plays out with Disney. Then down $200 on the Tesla. But this is where I'm going to look to add tomorrow. And then I think the final one is Qualcomm, and he just wanted my face. So still, I'm down $700 on the 100 shares. Again, that's big short. Oh, Exxon too, actually. I forgot about that one as well. But yeah, those were the two big short plays, down 700 on that. The option absolutely wiped again, way bigger than the shares, but that's what I get for going with that one. Then XOM still down 300, but I still think both of these are manageable. So you could add those to the short positions. That's why I've been trying to get some upside, because even though we've taken a lot of profit over the last couple of days, I have wound up pretty short, but I am still pretty bearish from Powell, like I've been saying. So we will see what happens with the CPI, how the midterms play out, and if any other swan gets in the way. But I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember, baby, small good decisions. If you have the discipline with spending, that's the problem all around the world right now. How you spend it will determine how long you stay here, and that is your staying power. But Chattadonia, there is less than 60 days remaining in the year. You have already made it this far. I hope you're preparing for next year already, but we gotta bring it home, and all it takes is a couple of good decisions from here, and we're gonna bring it home, baby. But I hope you're ready. I'll see you in the morning. God bless all the positivity. You did amazing today. I love the maturity. Y'all killing it, chat. So let's keep running it. I love you. I'll see you. God bless you, and I miss you. I wish you could see me now. It's not as awkward. It's not as awkward. I don't even know. Okay, maybe I did that with that. Maybe I was awkward. Hey, man, okay. Hard.